appeals presented. All decisions will be made on the record. So the petitioners will be formally notified of the decision by mail within 5 days of the determination. So moving on to the actual scheduled hearings, we will begin with our first petitioner, which is Family Dollar, number 29133, schedule number P03-10091. So Mr. Faulkner, if you would like to begin, we would like to hear from you for up to 10 minutes, please.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for taking time today. Again, as the account number was noted, this is for the Family Dollar store there in the county. I wanted to kind of start with some background as to how Family Dollar got to where they are, the spin from Dollar Tree, and then kind of walk through a couple points. So back in March of 2025, Dollar Tree announced that they were divesting of the Family Dollar business. They had bought the Family Dollar business back in 2015, and ended up selling it in July of 2025 is when it was actually sold off. They bought it back in July of 2015 for a little over $9 billion. And when it was sold in July of 2025, it was sold for $1.9 billion. So significant write down to the assets and the overall or the business and the underlying assets of the business as part of that transaction. It was subjected to the market, and that it was an arm's length transaction was the ultimate purchase, was to the highest bidder that they could find. As part of that, then we filed the appeal. And we filed the return. The assets on the return are valued using the fair value assigned by PricewaterhouseCoopers during the overall purchase price allocation that was performed by PwC on the assets. Family Dollar does not maintain any historical records going back to the ownership under Dollar Tree. And then, so as part of that, the overall $1.9 billion that was paid for Family Dollar by the new investors, they did an allocation of the purchase price, and the $1.9 billion. When you do that from an accounting standpoint, you start with cash and cash equivalents. You work your way down. There's 7 potential classes that you go through that they assign value to. By the time that they were done allocating the value out to the inventory from a federal tax basis, it had all been allocated out. From a book basis, a little different accounting method, there was still the $429 million of value left to spread across the little over 7,000 stores that were acquired. And that is what the fair value that was assigned to the assets existing at the Rio Blanco County store were based upon. We filed the return on Family Dollar's behalf, consistent with those new values that had been assigned to the assets as part of the purchase price. And then when we received an assessment notice from the Rio Blanco County, coming in significantly higher than the value that had been requested as part of the overall, as part of the file, the 2026 filing based on the rebased asset values. It's quite a difference in between it and the overall value. The assessor had a value of, hold on a second, I'm trying to look through all my stuff. We asked for a value of $4,718. The assessor was coming in much higher than that at $98,000 and $98,820. What we are asking for is, Family Dollar paid fair market value. Transaction took place. We are asking that the assessment more closely align with the overall value that was paid by Family Dollar for these assets, that versus being based off of what Dollar Tree was carrying them on at their books. Because again, we do not have that information, or Family Dollar does not have that information, and that's not what's being reflected on their records moving forward. Any questions?
Not at this time.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes.
Chair, will you just have Mr. Faulkner just state his name for the record and that he represents Family Dollar, please?
Perfect. My apologies. Yes, I should have had you do that up front. If you would state your name and that you are representing, who you are representing.
Yeah, Bill Faulkner. I work for Ducharme McMillan Associates, and we are representing Family Dollar.
Thank you. Appreciate that for our records.
No problem.
Okay. So we will move on then to our assessor's presentation for up to 10 minutes, if you would, please.
Madam Chair, I'm sorry.
Oh, yes.
The clerk just needs the organization. He said that too fast.
Okay. Okay. So, Mr. Faulkner, back to who is it that you work for and represent slower so our clerk and recorder can get that picked up?
Oh, I represent Ducharme McMillan and Associates is the firm I actually work for. DUCHARME. Pardon?
One more time there, please. I'm spelling it.
Can you spell it out, please?
Ducharme McMillan. Ducharme is spelled DUCHARME. McMillan is MCMILLEN and Associates Inc. We represent Family Dollar.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
No
Good.
problem.
Okay. All righty. So moving forward then with our assessor's presentation.
Okay. Renee Nielsen, Rio Blanco County Assessor. I have a certified general license number CG 0013184457. And just for the county's record, I would like to point out that when it got read into the minutes, the account number actually is P03100091. You didn't have the P, or they didn't say the P, I don't believe. Anyway, and then I also wanted to point out that we did adjust the value from $98,820 down to $95,990. It's on your valuation summary. Plus, I'd like to point out an error, a typo error. At the estimated difference in taxes would be a loss of 1,000 estimated taxes, because we don't know what the mill levy is, $1,570.34. The reason it would be a total loss is because the value that the petitioner has put on there would be under the exemption of personal property, which is currently $56,000 in actual value. So at this time, Stacy Gould, who works in the office, is the person who had done the work on this appeal and valuing the property. So I'd like to turn it over to her.
Thank you. My name is Stacy Gould, license number AV.200001698. I don't know if you guys have time to read through. I'm not going to read it verbatim, but the general information in there. So according to the Division of Property Taxation, we are bound to use the Colorado Revised Statutes 39-1-103 13A. That states that if a taxpayer declared costs as not representative of reasonable costs, we can research and use comparable personal property costs in our valuation. And so we went back through and looked at the values that were submitted on the declaration and determined that those were not reasonable. So we used the historical cost from the account going all the way back to 2017, which was the original installed costs. And then using the division's guidelines on how we value all personal property, you take that original cost and then determine the cost factor which gives you a replacement cost new. And then we depreciate that out and use a rollback. And that gives you your replacement cost new less depreciation. And then, as Renee said, there was an error on a couple of them that they're supposed to depreciate down to 15%. And there was 2 line items when I reviewed the account that were still at 17%. And that was from the divisions tables. There was an error in those. So we fixed that. And then we resubmitted that to Mr. Faulkner. So, and then we applied the assessment rate of 26% as we do to all personal property. So that is how we value all personal property, and that's how we value this account as well, so.
Okay, anything else? All righty, so moving on to our opportunity for the Board of Equalization to question petitioner and or the assessor. We can have that conversation for up to 10 minutes. Questions, comments?
I would like to ask Bill, the value that you came up with, where did you come up with comps like that? Did you not use comps? You're just using your figures?
Yeah, we're using the fair value that was prescribed to the assets by PricewaterhouseCoopers during their purchase price allocation that they did.
So I have a question for the attorney. Are we not supposed to use comps for this?
So, thank you, Rose Puglisi, County Attorney. Generally, we use comps. This is business personal property, so they can use fair market value as their assessment of the value. The assessor also valued based on their historic information. So that all of that is relevant, and you can consider that as well.
Any additional questions?
No,
Okay, so if we do not have any other questions or comments, and thank you, Commissioner Overton, because I was thinking that too with the comps. That's my understanding is where we need to stay focused. So I appreciated that conversation. With that being said, is there a motion to one way or another?
I'm going to make a motion that we deny the appeal. I just don't feel it's fair to our taxpayers. Everybody has to use comps, and that's what we use.
Does he need to give the account number? His motion?
Thank you, Commissioner O'Huron. The chair read into the record the account number, so your motion can just be to deny the petition or to deny the petition. There's no need to reread it unless you want to.
And I second it.
Thank you. Have a motion and a second to deny the Family Dollar number 29274. They have submitted petitions for all 3 of those account numbers. They have also returned a form asking for an administrative denial, which means that they are bypassing this process at the Board of Equalization level and are asking to go directly to the Board of Assessment Appeals. That administrative denial, if the board accepts, would happen, and that'll trigger them to be able to go to Board of Assessment Appeals. My staff recommendation, for lack of a better word, is to accept the administrative denial. That is an avenue that they have under statute, and we'll submit this into the record. No hearing is required. All right, thank you very much. Appreciate that. So is there a motion?
Madam Chair, I move to approve an administrative denial for natural soda.
I'll second that motion.
So we have a motion and a second to deny an administrative denial, to accept an administrative denial. So with those numbers already being read, if you would please call the roll.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay. All righty. I believe that is all of our agenda. So I would
Madam
accept
Chair,
the motion.
I make the motion that we adjourn the meeting.
A second.
So a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting at 10:19. If you would please call the roll.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
All right,
Good. For a little while.
there you go. For a little while. All right,